A lot of you have been asking what's going on with the 10th generation Honda Accord. I haven't published videos in a while, and really in part because of the new project car, the 2003 Lexus IS 300. I've been spending a lot of time with that car before I start modifying it, before I take it to the dyno, which I recently have. There was a lot of maintenance that I needed to do on that car, so obviously I've been spending a lot of time with it. That doesn't mean to say that I haven't been enjoying our 2019 Honda Accord 2.0 Touring. I absolutely have. With that said, however, something really has happened to the car, unfortunately. I got into an accident. So I'm driving, minding my own business, and the back of the car jumped. Start looking in my mirrors, see this huge truck. Honestly, all I saw was the tires. I didn't even see the top of the truck. That's how close it was. And it hit the rear fender, the rear back of the car, and made the car jump. My heart stopped, as you can imagine. Part of me was mad. I was concerned about the car. I was pissed that someone hit me. I look behind me and there's this huge truck. And what comes out of the truck is this tiny woman. This really, I mean, couldn't have been more opposite the size of the truck compared to the size of the woman. Good thing is, she was amicable about the situation. Good thing is, I guess in this situation, it was good that she had such a monster truck with such big tires. Although, it could have been why she hit me, she just couldn't see me. But I say that because when she hit my car, the only thing that hit my car, that touched my vehicle from her vehicle, was her tire. And unfortunately did some damage to the car. Now, is it horrible? No. And the more you look at it, the more I sat with it, the more I came to the conclusion that it could have been much worse. This cost a shitload to fix. We had three options. First option is to replace the entire bumper. That's a lot. We are talking a couple $1,000s to replace the entire bumper. Second option was to have it repainted. To have it painted, it was probably half the cost of having the bumper replaced, so about $1,000. Then there was, she was asking, hey, could I give you some cash, and keep it outside of the insurance, make it right, and I can have it fixed. And maybe I should have. Because the decision I made was that I'm gonna fix this myself. Yeah, you might have wanted to reconsider that choice. I will be using a combination of dishwashing soap and distilled water. And that way the dishwashing soap, not that you would normally wash your car with it because it would strip everything off of it, but that's exactly what we want it to do with this, is strip any waxes or soap that is on here. And then after, I'll go over this with a combination of isopropyl alcohol and distilled water to once again just make sure we have everything off. I've masked everything off. As you see, I went pretty far down the fender to the back of the bumper, and I'm not planning on painting all of it. I'm just going to feather out to that. Now, I haven't added my plastic to protect the wheel and all these panels here. I'm going to do that after I sand this out, because as part of the sanding, I'm sure I'm going to get debris, plastic dust all over, and I'm going to wipe it down before I put the plastic on that so I have a cleaner surface. I'm going to start off wet sanding with 180 grit, so that'll be coarser, and I'm going to focus right here on our, I guess, gouge, on our scratches to lightly sand that down, and then I'm going to progressively increase the grit number, and as I do that, I'll continue to feather this out. So I'm sure some of this, or I assume some of this, is the tire, and then some of this is the black plastic behind the painted panel itself. We're going to move on to 600 grit, sand that down a little bit, and then we'll move on to 1500, which is our final sanding. I should have taken a light to the area, kept cleaning it off and reevaluating to make sure that I did get all of the scratches. In hindsight, I probably should have used a little bit of Bondo or filler. I did end up with a couple marks that weren't apparent until I was completely done. When I removed the tape from up top, I did notice that some of the sanding did get through. I also, because of this yellow discoloration, I'm not sure if I'll be able to polish that out or not. I am going to expand the area. I sanded it with 600, then I think 1,000 and 1,500. So yes, we'll focus on here, which is nice and smooth, but we'll have to feather out our painting so that it's not so obvious that this panel was painted. Did this soft line up top here because we have the body line, and then I kind of just used the fuel cap here to draw a line on this panel. Should I have gone further? I don't know. Like I said, I am no expert. This is the first time I am doing this. I have everything taped off now. First step is to add some adhesion promoter. Very helpful, especially on plastic panels. So we'll add 2 coats of this, waiting 5 minutes in between each one of the coats. It'll be very light coat. I'm going to add it to pretty much the entire panel. Says light coats. I think that is a light coat. So I'll just wait 5 minutes. Now we're going to add our primer. And I am going to apply it very lightly, 2, 3, maybe 4 coats with about 5–10 minutes in between. And then this is 5 coats that I've put on. I'm going to stop here. Clearly, for me to cover all of that up, I'd have to go crazy with it, and I have a feeling that's not the intention. I think it's just to lay a foundation. After 30 minutes, we're going to lightly sand all the area that I've applied the primer to, which makes sense because I can see some high spots of where the primer is on the paint. I'm going to start off with 600 grit, then we're going to move to 1,000. And if you choose to, you can move up to 1,500 to finish it off. Next, we'll use a tack rag to get any of the lint, any dust, any particles that are left over before we add our base coat. We're now ready to add the base coat. We're going to add 3–4 coats, we'll see, maybe even more. And as we apply it, we'll feather it out. So this is going to be my 5th coat of my base coat or ground coat, whatever you want to call it. And I really thought by now I wouldn't be seeing the black. That took a lot longer than I thought it would. I lost count how many coats I put on. I will say that I think I was applying the coats too lightly in the beginning. Because I have the white pearl, I do have a step 2 mid coat, so I'm not done yet. I still have to apply a couple coats of this mid coat. We'll see if this brings out the pearl. I'm a little concerned I'm not applying enough, but at the same time, I don't want to over apply and then have it come out dark, meaning there's more pearl in this section than the rest of the car. That was the fourth coating, but definitely rear the respirator if you're using this stuff. We're not done yet. I need to let this cure for 24 hours, and then we're going to polish it. And we're going to find out if all of this was worth it or not. Color is an excellent match, so that's good. I think the amount of pearl that I put in should be okay. However, the gloss, it looks blotchy. It definitely looks blotchy. I don't know if I sprayed it too closely to the panel, too far away, inconsistent with the panel, but it came out splotchy. It came out with a lot of orange peel. And I did. It said leave, 10 minutes or more in between coats. I left 15 minutes. So I'm not sure what I could have done differently, but that clear coat really didn't go on so well. The other thing is, unfortunately, I do have some rather hard lines, meaning I can see the separation between what I've painted versus what I haven't painted, both here and at the top. This one isn't as apparent from a distance because it's pretty close to the body line, so it kind of blends in and adds a shadow. And then there's a line in the rear bumper there. But right now we're going to apply our rubbing compound. So you're supposed to wait the 24 hours and apply this, and hopefully this helps with the shine, so I won't have high and low points and inconsistencies with the gloss. And maybe using this compound will also help take away a little bit of the edge. There's still definitely some inconsistencies, and it didn't do much to remove the lines. So what I think I'm going to try to do is use a Orbo buffer and some of my mother's compound and see if I can buff this out a little bit. That didn't do too much. Granted, it was a low cut compound, so I am going to try it with a higher cut. The biggest lessons learned for me is I should have just focused on the damaged area, the big scratch, the big gouge. And when I did expand my area, that should have just been to feather things out. Instead, I went crazy with initially the sanding, and then feathering it out way too much, too far away from the main damaged area. I should not have done that. After I did that, I then had to paint it. And again, I painted way too far out. It should have been half the area. It should not have reached all the way up to that body line. It shouldn't have reached all the way up to the gas cap. And then it was a snowball effect. I then had to do the mid coat. I then had to gloss it. And as a result of the lack of feathering, because I expanded the area so large, instead of just lightly feathering from the main damaged area, I have these hard lines. I really hope you found value in this video. Whether you've been entertained by my failure or if it was eye-opening. I know it is for me. A lot of the videos I watch to try to figure out how to do this, these are from people who've been doing it all the time, right? They're professionals, semi-professionals, and they make it look easy. And it's not as easy as it looks. So with that said, I think we're done for today. I want to thank you very much for joining, and until next time.